Good morning. I'm doing a walk from Kilwinning to Irvine today. It's going to follow the River Garnock through Kilwinning, through the countryside and outskirts of Irvine, and finally take us in towards the coast at Irvine, where I'll get the train back home. So, got to get to Kilwinning first because I'm still not there yet. So I'll see you when I get there. That's me off the train at Kilwinning station. As you can notice, I'm onto a very busy and noisy street, so we'll see you again when it's quieter. Welcome to Kilwinning Main Street. I'm at Kilwinning Abbey now. This is the one thing in the main street that is nice. Some of it ruins, of course. That gravestone's so old and weathered I can barely see anything on it. Now, I found out an interesting fact in my last video. I walked past what looked like a ruined church in Kilwinning, but one of my viewers informed me that it was actually a replica of the ruins here at Kilwinning Abbey that somebody had built. So I found that quite interesting. It's a good effort to go and make that. Kilty's Kilwinning Bar and Lounge. That doesn't look as dingy as some of the places here. Yeah, that looks extremely Masonic. The all-seeing eye. I've got high hopes for this walk. It's, I believe, a fair amount of it follows the National Cycle Network Route 7. It runs all the way from Glasgow down to Ayrshire. So, I don't know if this path I'm on is a part of that, but it's nice and quiet anyway. There's nobody here because that's me got myself through Kilwinning town centre. So, there isn't much here, just me and the river and a lot of shrubbery. This is River Garnock, so this follows the path I'm on through pretty much all of Kilwinning. When I hit the outskirts of Kilwinning, I believe I moved towards the countryside. Now I don't know if I'm meant to take this road or this muddy path down there, so I'm going to have to check my map. Right, according to the map I can take this path or I could take the road as well, so I'm going to chance the path. It looks slightly muddy, but hopefully it'll be okay. Could do with getting paved. It's a bit uneven, but not to worry. Oh, fair amount of mud there. This could be a schoolboy error. Very muddy. Oh no. this bit. I don't want to have squelching feet soaked right through with dirty muddy water right at the start of this walk, so I need to carefully place my footing. This looks nice though. Good wee riverside walk, quiet at this time of the morning as well. So I don't know how long this is going to take me. It's 4.6 miles, which I would guess would take me about 2 hours-ish. But it kind of depends on conditions underfoot. I think it should be okay though. Although it's, we had a storm a couple of days ago and it was absolutely bucketing down with rain. So I'm hoping the path remains walkable. I should be able to do this in good time. But you'll see. There's no storm today, it's very calm. Look at how calm the water is. This is a River Garnock that you've probably seen it in some of my Dalry videos, but it runs all the way from Dalry right down to Irvine, and that's where it goes out to the sea. It takes a big long winding route, which is why I'll be departing the riverside just as we're leaving Kilwinning. A lower path right down next to the river. I'll stick with this one though. I wonder if you can walk that high bank at the other side. I see a wall, but I think there's a road there. Maybe a path. I mentioned before I came to college here, so you would think I would have walked this before, having been in Kilwinning so often for a couple of years, but I never have. It's actually quite pleasant, even though we're a couple of weeks away from Christmas and it's freezing cold. But this is the one day in the weather report where it was to be calm and sunny. Well, at this time of year, sun doesn't mean warmth, but at least I'm not getting soaked with rain. There's a wee narrow bench down there. You can just sit at the side of the river and chill. That's one for the summer. I'm not going to sit on an old wooden bench that's wet. I had to put the camera down there. It looks like I walked past a school party. A group of children with their teacher with them. So, don't want to be filming that, filming the peace and quiet. Yes, there's another path up there, so that goes back to the main road I just came from, I think. If I followed the main road, it would have rejoined here. Look at that. You know, a wee rock like that sitting there, I'm expecting somebody to be fishing there. Probably illegal. Need a permit for that. I wonder where that bridge goes to. Get my map out and see. Do I cross it or not? Nah, stay on this side. Looks like it takes you back to the housing estate over there in Irvine Road, which is the main road between Kilwinning and Irvine if you're driving or getting the bus. I don't know what that is over there. Is that a school maybe? Don't know. I suspect it might be because there's football pitches next to it. It's either a school or maybe a leisure centre, who knows. Another path up there as well. Guessing that takes you into the town somewhere. Aye, it does. Takes you back to another house in the estate. But, when I do these walks, I tend to look for quiet routes, or as quiet as I can possibly get, so that I'm not walking past loads of people with a camera. You never know, somebody might be a bit funny about it. Oh, why are you pointing that camera at me? So I like routes like this where it's nice and quiet. That's why I didn't film too much just as I left the station, because there was quite a lot of people about. Aye, this is good here. It's one of these places you wouldn't think to come walking, you know, just because you think it's in Kilwinning. But as the last video shows, and I hope this video is going to show, there's actually some brilliant walks about these towns in Ayrshire. So I'm going to keep exploring them to try and find some more. So if you know any more that are quiet and peaceful and scenic, then let me know. Could always do with some top tips. A wee memorial bench for somebody. Ben McClure gone fishing. Yeah. That's a shame. Anytime I see these memorial benches, I think this is probably a spot where that person lived. So it looks like somebody did enjoy fishing here. I'm not entirely sure what this cable's for. See, I wonder if anybody's ever shimmied across that. I bet you some nutter has. Moving away from the river here, there's some muddy paths through there and some benches, but it just looks a bit too muddy. I'm going to just cut up to the road here. According to my map, I should be continuing to follow that river down there. But it just doesn't look walkable, not in this weather anyway, so I'm coming up here. In fact, I'm up at the National Cycle Network. 32 miles to Glasgow, 6 miles to Ardrossan, 3 miles to Irvine, so I've done 1.6 miles. That's good. That's a nice little mile marker, isn't it? And there's the other side of that, the muddy path down to that bench. It actually brings you out here, so I think I'm still on the right route actually. I am. With this being the National Cycle route, that was just a wee red herring back there, so definitely taking the correct route. So you can go Irvine, 2.75 miles to the right. There's Ardrossan and Kilwinning back that way. Eglinton Country Park, so I'm guessing I go to the right here, because Eglinton, can't even say it, Eglinton Country Park is back at the main road between Irvine and Kilwinning, which is not where I'm wanting to go, so I think I'll chance it and go up here. I think this is the correct route. There's another path. So many paths leading down to this cycle track. I'm enjoying it in many places. How long do you think that old bridge has stood there? A long, long time. It looks very old. A couple of 100 years maybe. Could do a muddy and slippy route and find yourself back in the river. I'll stick to the tarmac. Probably blown out the exposure here with pointing the camera at the sun. You know what, I can barely feel any heat off it at all. I think it's behind some cloud. Oh, it's very nice though. Don't get much sun at this time of year in Scotland. It's like a storm got that tree good. As far as I can tell from the map, this path crosses the busy road up here. You can probably hear the traffic from here. I'm guessing there must be a tunnel or a bridge over. The traffic's up high, so I'm guessing a tunnel. Once we pass this road, that's us pretty much leaving Kilwinning and entering the outskirts of Irvine. So we'll be leaving the lovely River Garnock behind and making our way through the countryside, past the golf course, I believe. Don't know if you'll be able to see some balls flying, if we'll be too far away from it, but should be a nice walk. Yep, we're in the tunnel. Bet there's a few carry-outs being drank under here by the young team. So I'm guessing that's me officially in Irvine. It's just over that road would be Irvine Hospital. Look at these trees, how they curve over the path. That's mental, isn't it? See, for trees to curve like that, they must have been grown that way initially, I would think. They wouldn't just do that naturally. I'm just curious, where does this path go? I don't think it goes anywhere, so I can see a barrier, but it's got stones on it leading to something. I don't know, I mean that's the river. There's two spiky fence posts. It looks like there's maybe been a bridge here at some point. You can see the old girders, two old girders that probably held it up. But it's no longer there. Probably put those barriers in place to stop people trying to walk across the girders. Telling you, there's people who would do that. Maybe I would have done it in my younger days, but far too old for that sort of shenanigans. So it looks like the path follows the road. Okay. This way, I'm assuming. And we get a view of the countryside here. That's the train line in the distance, just on the horizon there. The train to Irvine, which I'll be getting back. It's not very green at this time of year, is it? There's actually a path down at the side of that river, so you must be able to follow that all the way around to, just looking at a map, it looks like it takes you to, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that's an industrial estate if I was to follow the river path, but I might be one to investigate another day. So if you know where the path goes, And if it's not an industrial estate, let me know. I'll probably check it out in the maps when I get home, get the street view up. That could be quite nice. What it looks like it does is it follows the big loop that the River Garnock goes on, whereas I'm sort of cutting across just across the straight land to avoid the loop, because I didn't think you could actually walk it, but I could be wrong about that. It has once again got all the trees curving over the path. Strangely, it's all the trees on the right hand side. Maybe it's just the wind that has blown them in that direction. Maybe catching some strong winds out this way. Pretty exposed. That one right above me. Duck this one. It's kind of boggy and wet looking. Some little stream that probably joins up with the Garnock River. Very boggy in there. Good job we got this path. I'm treating myself to a wee energy bar. These are tasty. Right, there we go. There's a sign there. I can't really get any closer to it because of the barbed wire here, but what it says is Garnock Floods Wildlife Reserve. Gateway to a special landscape of rivers, ponds and wetlands. A place for birds and more, making the most of the mud. A place for people. So in the winter it says look for ducks such as widgeon, goldeneye, teal in the standing water. You can certainly hear plenty of birds making a noise. I don't see them. That's cool. I didn't know that was here. All these wee bits of nature that are so close to towns that you just wouldn't even know about. I don't even know what road this is following. Being a non-driver, I've never had any reason to come down here. Obviously a back road between Kilwinning and Irvine. Right, well, my exposure's no great, but that sign says Bullen Field. I'll not begin in there. Yeah, so speaking of bulls, I went to walk to the wind farm in Dalry a few years ago, and just before you reach the actual wind farm there's a livestock farm that you need to pass through to get to the wind farm. I thought that was the end of the road, but a guy I met there says no, I just go through the farmer's gates, make sure they're closed, you can head up to the wind farm. He says but there's a bull in the field. I was like, well, maybe no bother then. He says, nah, you'll be fine, just the bull's at the bottom of the field. So I did it, passed some cows, got to the wind farm, and got great views over the Ayrshire coast, which is something I didn't think was possible from Dalry, but it was. Thankfully I didn't see the bull, but I'd been thinking about, oh sorry. Some cyclists pinging their bell at me. Anyway, I was going to do a walk up there and record it for your pleasure, but I don't think it would go as high up as the wind farm because I just wouldn't want to take the chance. Got away with it one time, how lucky would I be to get away with it a second time, to not get attacked by a bull? Looking at that sign, you can go all the way to Attributions for here on the cycle track. It's a bit far for me to walk, to be honest. Try to keep my walks to around 5 miles. Just on my right is a train track now. Following that a fair part of the way into Irvine. On the other side of that is a golf course. Probably couldn't pick that up, but it's a fella out in his grass cutter cleaning up the greens. I don't think it's that way. It must be this way. I see a sign up here, so that'll point me in the right direction. Yes. Town centre. Is it this way or is it that way? Is it that way? Yeah, that's just the road. Town centre is right down this path here. Just in case you were in any doubt that I was following the train line. There we go, there's the pylons and wires stretching all the way into the distance. But to the left, all this lovely greenery. Far in the distance I can see a church steeple, so that'll be in Irvine. I think that church is just before the train station, so not too far to go now. Which way is it? Alright, it's up to the left. But let's see if we get a nice view. The steps go away down here. I'm going for a gander. Might as well, since I'm here, see what sort of view there is of this bridge. I mean, this wee beach area is covered in all sorts of junk, but that bridge, it's the rail line over the river. Not a bad view, but I'll go back up the steps and follow this river all the way up there. Some view. So there's been a lot of countryside that I've walked through here, but it shouldn't be too far up ahead when I start hitting some houses that run alongside the river before finally getting down to the harbour side where the train station is. So if you're bored of greenery, well, there's not much green at this time of the year, but if you're bored of it, it'll soon change. I passed a runner that had two dogs running with her earlier on, and I've just caught me back up again the way back, and the dogs are desperate to see me. Just having to shout them back. I don't mind as long as they don't put their muddy paws all over me. Nice wee bench there. Sit out, look at the view. It looks like you're looking at football pitches. All very exciting. Starting to hit some houses now. Hello wee dog. Hello there. There's a muddy path goes right down there. I don't think I have a chance walking down there in the winter. Slip down over the fence into the water. That's pretty cool. I think I might investigate that in the summer. Get a wee bit closer. All the old broken trees that have been caught there. Mind you, the steps go all the way down. Any chance it? Nah, I'm too lazy, they look quite steep. I wonder who that is a statue of in there. Look at that big bit of land all to themselves. You're going by that side profile. I think that might be Robert Burns or Rabbie Burns to wee Scots. I could be wrong though. It's too far away to see the sign. It's pretty cool. It's a big statue, isn't it? Only have to look that up. Probably shows it on my map. It is indeed a Robert Burns statue. There we go. I'm not entirely stupid. These houses have got a nice view, haven't they? A nice wee spot to live right on the cycle track. After I go under this road bridge, there should be a footbridge that will take me over the river. That's where I need to be to get to the station. I think there's a train leaves in about 10 minutes, so I'm not going to catch that. I need to be running to catch that. And I'm not running anymore after the last time I did. Injured myself. Yes. An old grey bridge like this, and it actually looks pretty cool. When the sun's out and the river's still, it looks quite nice. So there you go, that artwork isn't just somebody doing graffiti, it was commissioned. I wonder what that dome is up there. Can you see that in the distance behind those flats? Are they flats? I'm assuming they're flats. I don't know what that is. I need to check that out. If you've got any idea, let me know. Those buildings across there look lovely, or these wee bungalows. But I don't think I'd want to be there when global warming really kicks in and this river rises. I mean, I've got a couple of decades left before they get flooded. I nearly got flooded years ago in Dalry, where I lived. I used to live at Mill Park in Dalry. For anybody that knows Dalry, it's a part that always gets flooded. I didn't know that when I moved there because I wasn't from the area. But when it did get flooded about, I don't know, 15 years ago maybe, the water was about 1 centimetre from crossing the threshold of my house. So I got away with it. I ended up selling the house years later on the cheap. Which maybe wasn't a good idea, but I had to kind of do it, so I was splitting up with somebody and I just wanted them gone. So the house went cheap, so the people that live there now got a bargain. But I want my freedom, so it's all good. Look at this bridge. This is nice. It's a big river, isn't it? The size of it. Wow. I'm going to the other side, facing the sun. Keeping two hands on my camera walking across here. Don't want to drop it in the river. That's the kind of clumsy thing I would do. There's a wee house there for sale. It's a cool wee bridge. urban all the way now. Good, that road's not so busy. This is where I get a wee bit lost. I think going up to the left there, a wee church, Fullerton Church. Right, I have to keep the map out here because I kind of weave through some of these busy roads. Look at that old spire. It's a bit weather worn up there. I think it's about 1838. Nearly 200 years old. And so I'm going this way. And I think I need to get right across here. I'm going that way. All these busy roads coming down to the harbour are really quite annoying. Alright, okay, I should have walked across that way. This is a wee blind corner, so I'm going to have to sprint. Should have came across the island in the middle. That useful sign tells me I'm going the right way. Train station, up this direction. And my map confirms it. But my map is pointing me down that path there, so I might just take that and get off the main road. Because the traffic can be quite annoying. Let's go down here. Tell you what, see approaching Irvine at the harbour, it's a complete failure in road planning. It's a nightmare. I think Irvine was one of these new towns for quite a few decades back. But, it's expanded a lot. They certainly didn't plan the roads very well. I'm a few minutes from the station and I can hear my train pulling in, which means I've got a half an hour's wait. So the station is just under that bridge and my train's at the platform. So I'm going to walk down the harbour side for 5 minutes, get you a wee view down there. Another route marker for the cycle track. Yeah. Some nice buildings down here. Used to come down here quite a lot years ago. Used to be a nice wee pub restaurant down here called the Ship Inn. I think it's one of the oldest pubs in Scotland. But as far as I know, it's shut down, which is a bit of a shame. Used to do a mean steak pie. That's nice. The Maritime Museum. What's that in there? The boat shop, Puffer's Cafe and gift shop. Ah, interesting. I had a good few drinks in that wee place, it was nice enough. Ooh, seaweed stinks here. Can you see that curved building in the centre of the screen? I doubt you can, it's away across the water in the distance, but it's a huge big building. I'm pretty sure that's a museum now. but you can't access it from this side. You've got to go around the other side of the River Garnock here to get to it. I knew somebody that briefly worked in there when I was doing my web development course years ago, and she told me that they paid £80,000 for a WordPress website. I'm like, what? £80,000? I wouldn't mind one of those contracts, although I don't touch WordPress anymore because it's a absolutely horrendous, security-ridden dumpster a platform to make websites on. I was trying to think of some really nasty words about it there. Kept it clean. It's not very good, definitely not worth using. Look at all these nice wee houses up here. Lovely, aren't they? Get another few minutes walk up here and I'll cut back to the station. Give myself a bit of leeway. So I think this is a nice peaceful place to finish, looking out across the water. Hope you've enjoyed this walk today. Join me for the next one soon.